Guys, welcome to my channel. Guys, I really need to get into this word that the Lord gave to me because it's been so many takes and I cannot seem to get it out, so it's very important. It is something that the Lord gave me back in June, and I'm going to read it to you all today. And because there's a lot of people who are in bondage. They're in bondage by family members, they're in bondage by loved ones, people that they are married to, could be even your own children. And so this is something that the Lord has given to me to give to you. And if it's for you, prayerfully, it will give you it will help you to be free and at least set you on the path to be on a process of healing by the power of Jesus Christ. Okay? So here we go. Anger and bitterness is a spirit that enslaves the one who is a host to its ways and vices. It enslaves the angry, bitter person and those who try to concede, reason, maintain close relations with the carrier or the host of this dark spirit. Forgiveness does not mean that you stay. Forgiveness does not mean I consent. Forgiveness is a clean slate for the soul. It is an opportunity to build anew. It gives consent to the Spirit of God to move and restore, to rebuild. To restore a relationship, it requires both or all parties to be willing. To restore a relationship, this is key, guys. To restore a relationship, it requires both / all parties to be willing to submit to the ways of the Father, to the ways of God. If one or both does not desire to submit to the laws of God, because if you're submitting to the ways and you're submitting to the laws of God, it's rebellion. Many believers, listen to this, guys. This is where I got so surprised when the Lord showed this to me. Many believers inadvertently rebel against the Lord in an attempt to reconcile, yet submitting to a foul and dark spirit of bitterness, unforgiveness in the other. Many believers inadvertently rebel against the Lord in an attempt to reconcile, yet submitting to a foul and dark spirit of bitterness, unforgiveness in another. They yield their members to unrighteousness by adjusting to and or silencing themselves, yielding to the unhealthy habits or cycles of the bitter and unforgiving spirit. Therefore, taking the yoke of bitterness, anger upon themselves, keeping themselves bound and aligned keeping themselves bound and an aligned recipient or host for the spirit to breed. I'm going to read that again, guys. Many believers inadvertently rebel against the Lord in an attempt to reconcile, yet submitting to a foul and dark spirit of bitterness, unforgiveness in another. They yield their members to unrighteousness by adjusting to and or silencing themselves, yielding to the unhealthy habits, cycles of the bitter and unforgiving spirit. Therefore, taking the yoke of bitterness, anger upon themselves, keeping themselves bound and an aligned recipient, host for the spirit to breed. An unchanged heart is an unchanged man in rebellion against God. An unchanged heart is an unchanged man in rebellion against God. Forgiveness keeps you clean, upright before the Lord. It disbands and removes the yoke of bondage upon you. It confuses the enemy, sends the devil and demons fleeing. It purifies your heart and cleanses your hands from all unrighteousness. It means you have no ought against the other party or parties. Forgiveness is your protection and sets a hedge around you. This hedge, the enemy will try to destroy or tear down by the repeated offenses of the other party. Tightening the yokes by you, adapting to the cycles of the other person, of the host of the spirit. So the enemy will try to destroy or tear down by the repeated offenses of the other party. Tightening the yokes by you adapting to the cycles of the other person. Tightening the yokes by you adapting to the cycles of the host of the spirit. So it could be you, it could be a person. The way the enemy keeps you in this bondage is by the enemy tries to keep this hedge of protection, tries to destroy this hedge, This hedge, the enemy will try to destroy or tear down by the repeated offenses of the other party, Tightening the yokes by you, or a person adapting to the cycles of the host of the spirit. And the host will be that person that's always taking you through stuff, through their bitterness and their anger and the way they keep you bound to their habits and their ways, Therefore, why you must remove yourself from evil. It's contagious. I'm going to say this again. This hedge, the enemy will try to destroy or tear down by the repeated offenses of the other party. Tightening the yokes by you or a person adapting to the cycles of the host of the spirit. Therefore, why you must remove yourself from evil. It's contagious. Remove yourself from all unrighteousness. Keep your feet from evil. Sit not with an angry man, one who devises mischief and evil in their hearts. When I forgave sins of the people, I did not become them. I did not submit to darkness by adjusting to them. Rather, I submitted to the will of my Father. I submitted to my purpose. I did not align myself to the darkness, but continued to be the light and speaking the truth. I submitted to God's will and was raised up glorified. Rebellion is allowing yourself to be buried by an unclean spirit in another and failing to do the will of the Father. Some people do not want to reconcile. My brothers and sisters, listen up to this. Listen up here. Some people do not want to reconcile. They want you to suffer, to place the yoke upon you. Remove yourself from it completely. The days are short. Focus on the will of the Father. Focus on your purpose. I know I repeated some parts of this over and over again, guys, because I really needed you all to get it. And not only that, I did scribble a lot when I was writing this. So my handwriting was looking like, but guys, I don't think I need to add much to this. I encourage you to listen to this message over and over and over again. Repeat it if you need to. Forgive me if my reading was a little, if I stopped and repeated things, but this needs to get in someone's spirit, so you understand that God does not want you to be entangled in the yoke of bondage. A lot of times forgiveness has been misinterpreted And people fail to realize that we have to forgive. That goes without saying. But they fail to use wisdom, knowledge, discretion, understanding, discernment. And they're failing, and they're being caught up, and they're being stuck. And the biggest thing is, some of these relationships are keeping you from doing the will of the Father. Remember, you cannot minister to people when you are broken. You cannot minister to people while you are bleeding. You cannot minister to people when your eyes are swollen shut with hurt and deception. You cannot help people when you still have something impaled in you, betrayal and deceit, and just any sort of toxic thing that you've been exposed to. You become a hazard not only to others, but most importantly, you're a hazard to yourself. So guys, listen to this word. Healing is a process. Allow God to take you through that process so that you are fit for the fight. All right, guys. Bye.